because now the US African Commander, Darvin Anderson, has now traveled to Ghana. And what did he travel to Ghana for? The US AFRICOM Command met with the president of Ghana, President J.D. Mahama, to discuss shared security interests. And they discussed extensively on sub-regional security threats. They discussed maritime security. They had discussion about military cooperation. So the visit of the AFRICOM delegation to Ghana was on a bilateral cooperation basis as regards security with Ghana. So there is a lot of question to ask to that regards. But let's move further. There is another information we have for you today because Zambia reportedly rejects 350 million US dollars health grant over sovereignty concern. And in another episode, we'll be talking about how Guinean soldiers beat up 13 Sierra Leonean soldiers for territorial, um, you know, incursion, and they did not only beat them where they met them. According to information, some of them were injured with knives, and they now took them to Conakry, the capital. They did not even treat them like soldiers. They told them to sit on the floor. Some of them were with their hands on their head. The Guinea Conakry troops made a caricature of the Sierra Leonean troops. Actually, I am not happy about that. I am not happy at all. Like, these are Africans. This is not something we should be proud of. These are not even we are not the enemies of ourselves. But unfortunately, that's what the Guinean troop did. And it's something we should condemn. If we want to have a better Africa, we must condemn things like this. But nevertheless, when you have a president like Julius Maada Bio in the seat, miracles can happen in a negative way. So all this, I am going to categorically blame it on Julius Maada Bio unapologetically. And in another episode, we are going to talk about another military success in Mali. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to the counter-terrorism operation in Mali, as of today, I'm happy to announce to you, we are winning. So, it is at this point I want to say thank you to Captain Ibrahim Traore. Thank you to General Assimi Goita. Thank you to Abdurrahmani Chiani. Thank you to Netumbo Nandi. Thank you to the President of Zimbabwe. Thank you to the President of Central African Republic. Thank you to all those sovereign presidents out there. It is because we have these presidents right now. Thank you to the President of Madagascar. Permit me to say this. It is because of these presidents that some puppet presidents are now being pushed now to even do little, to do the basic for their citizens. There is a lot of pressure coming from these revolutionary leaders. This don't happen every time. It is because of they can hate these people. They hate them for a reason. Because these people, whatever they do in their country, is putting a lot of pressure on these failed leaders in Africa to do the basic for their citizens. So I think I think Africa, we forget too easily. We are all in the fight together. But families, I want to take this time out on behalf of the Andre community to say thank you to these leaders. A lot of people are hearing us all around the world. So we want to show our gratitude that these leaders are doing well for their people, and these leaders have been able to do so much to the point. Thank you so much, brother Omar. Thank you for coming. These leaders have not been only able to do good things for their people, they've been able to pressure the other failed governments and other failed systems in Africa to do the best for their citizens. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Android community is saying thank you to these leaders. Let's move forward now. Let's get started for today. According to the information that is getting to us, the United States AFRICOM Command paid a visit to Ghana. This is not just any visit. It's, they call it a bilateral cooperation agreement visit. According to information that we are getting, the US AFRICOM Commander, Davin Anderson, met yesterday with Ghanaian President Dramani Mahama to discuss shared security interests. So I will be explaining a lot to you as I am going to be, unveiling some details about this information. Accra has been a primary hub in recent months for United States military buildup in Nigeria in preparation for a US-backed offensive against Islamic State affiliates in the country. Actually, that's propaganda because that's not true. The US have been in Nigeria for quite a while now. It's been a while. We've not seen any fights. We've not seen any collaborative operation. We've not seen anything from the United States deployment in Nigeria. So let them not put that propaganda out there. I'm going to give credit to who credit is due. If the United States troop in Nigeria are doing something, let's give the credit to them that they are doing something. But for now, they are in Nigeria for nothing. Okay? If there are any other purpose why they are in Nigeria, they can explain that to us. Or maybe their actions can explain better to the general public of the African community. Now, according to information, they said this visit is for a candid conversation on partnership and shared security interests. No theatrics, just two leaders aligned on an idea to make the entire region safe. Now, let's get into the details of this conversation, this discussion that Ghana had with the United States. According to the information we have received, they said Ghana has now met with the United States based on discussions on subregional security threats. According to information, the United States is ready to address the urgent need for support in tackling evolving challenges. And what are these evolving challenges that they pointed? They talked about the illegal mining operation going on in the northern territory of Ghana. They talked about terrorism incursion into the northern territory of Ghana. And they said they will be more than willing to have a sort of collaboration with Ghana to combat these emerging threats. So now, let's move forward before I give my opinion. They talked about maritime security. According to the information, the United States AFRICOM Command proposed bilateral agreements for joint patrols to combat illegal fishing. That is so funny. To combat illegal fishing and piracy in Ghana's coastal waters. The last reason they gave, they said military cooperation, enhancing coordination and logistics between AFRICOM and the Ghana Armed Forces. So, ladies and gentlemen, see, there are two levels to this information. Number one is the fact that I don't know if they are just doing this just to tell the entire public that this is what we're about to do. I don't know if they have been working together. I don't know if this is a way of de-escalating the current tension that is very, very obvious among Africans right now. with a lot of people saying that Ghana has been collaborating and been working hand in hand with the United States to destabilize the region. What will I say? I will say that, the way the US approached the president of Ghana in this particular situation, it's brought out some things, okay? Now, what it brought out is this. This is not a session for sensational, to do some sense. We just want to approach this from a very, very honest standpoint. I think the fact that they are making these proposals to Ghana only mean one thing, that the government of President John Dramani Mahama, based on this information, has no type of, let's say, pre-existing collaboration with the US-AFRICOM Command. Based on this information, like I said, it looks as if they are now trying to have a fresh agreement, okay? A fresh agreement with Ghana. Now, why do I think they are now proposing a new relationship? I think this is even more obvious because when Ghana was trying to combat illegal mining, families, it's America they have a complete military base in Ghana, which is autonomous. A military base that was brought into Ghana through the MPP, party, which is a failed party in Ghana, a satanic party in Ghana. Let me be very, very correct on that. I don't know the type of people that are in that party, but when you hear the things they say, these are the counterproductive elements you have in any country. If you have 3 MPP party members in your country, that's a national security threat for your country. When you look at the statements that these people have made over the past few weeks, and you look at the way they think, the thinking faculty of the individuals in this party is a national security threat for any country. Just 3 from that MPP. Man. So now, what is coming out of here now is that the US is making this proposal to Ghana. Now, talking about sub-regional security threats, okay? Talking about maritime security and talking about military cooperation. So what would I say? I think the US is trying to infiltrate the Ghanaian Navy. They are trying to infiltrate the Ghanaian, armed forces of, the entire grade, the entire Ghanaian military grade. Now, why do I think there is no need to come out to, to make this grandstanding? I think they don't need to be giving us this kabuki theater because you have the Achimodiase jungle warfare school that is probably a military school that is shared by both the Americans and the Ghanaians. So you people have been collaborating forever. Why coming out with this statement? Is it that they now want to make it official? Regardless, what I'm looking at here is that America is now proposing to Ghana now that let's help you. So it begs the question, if Ghana did not ask for the help of the US, even though the United States is just on the Ghanaian nose, right there within their borders, right? And now they are making a proposal to Ghana to help Ghana counter their security issue. It goes back to what we have always talked about on the Andre community. There is no need for me to give you paracetamol if I am not about to beat you up. I don't need to give you some opiate class of drugs to cure pain if I'm not about to pour hell on you. So the question is, why are they? But from everything I'm seeing, I think bit by bit, Ghana is losing sovereignty. Ghana is losing um, their non-aligned foreign policy. You know, everything that Ghana stood for is collapsing. To be honest with you, I stand to be corrected, but this looks like, now you cannot tell me now that the Ghanaian internal political, you know, issues, you cannot tell me that America does not have hands in it. They have both hands and feet. They have it in Ghana's internal policy and everything right now. They are within your borders. They are doing everything they want to do from within Ghana. And now they are coming and saying that, yes, we can help you. So look at that statement right there when it comes to maritime security. They say bilateral agreement for joint patrols. So if the Ghanaian Navy vessel is moving, the American Navy vessel will be moving. Pari pursuit. So now, to combat illegal fishing, is that even sensible? Illegal fishing. Should fishing be illegal in this Africa? And they are talking about piracy in Ghana coastal waters. What I think is this: they've captured Nigeria with this narrative. This is the same thing they are doing in Nigeria. The coast of Nigeria is. So what I think is that these people, um, they want to seize everything called sovereignty. Like, sometimes you might think you are having bilateral cooperation with somebody, and that person is taking your sovereignty away from you. We've not heard anything about the reply from President J.D. Mahama. And if there is going to be any reply, we know it's going to be a covert reply. It's not going to be something that will be in the open. It's going to be official, like people will say. But in my opinion, whatever makes you sign this agreement, you don't have sovereignty again. And we have now realized recently that you will talk about sovereignty if your government have a full control over your military. But immediately you have America now coming to Ghana to say, that means that if Ghana had anything they call non-aligned foreign policy before, America is about to start dictating to them. America is about to start telling them that we don't want you to deploy this fighter jet. Our neighbors not seeing what is going on in Nigeria. So America is about to start telling Ghana that this is where this vehicle should go. This is where this aircraft should go. We don't want to see you in this place. That is what it's about to be. So, and, it means that whatever Ghana is going to do now, in a certain way, you can start, you will start getting a situation where Ghana will start getting warning from the United States. You will start seeing influencers popping up in your country, like common influencer, but you won't know that they are CIA agents. By the time Ghana agrees to this, I don't want to say some things. There are some pre-existing issues in Ghana that I don't think the Ghanaian authorities have been able to totally address. If they agree to this security, if they sign this agreement, okay, the Ghanaian authority will not have the autonomy to decide on those issues. And they will manipulate the Ghanaian authority. And when we are talking about manipulation, this is going to be a sort of covert operation where they are going to tell you that according to international, they are going to bring in a lot of NGO organization. That is if they don't even have many already. They are going to blackmail you. The people that want to destroy your country will have all the opportunity to do it, and there will be no stopping them. We've seen these people completely. The reason why they are doing all this is because they know that Africans have woken up. At least over 40% of Africans have woken up. Remove Nigeria from that border. Remove Nigeria from what I just said now. Now capture the rest of Africa. Over 40% of Africa, apart from Nigeria, is up. And it worries the West. Salute to that brother from Sierra Leone. Now, the question I'm going to ask the Ghanaians on this day, is that the greatest product of democracy, of freedom, of liberation, and of revolution that Ghana has ever produced is the great Kwame Nkrumah. And the question is this: will Kwame Nkrumah be happy with all this nonsense that is going on? You see, one of the most annoying part of this agreement is to talk about combating illegal fishing. The people fishing in the Sea of Ghana, are they not Ghanaians? Okay. So that is one. Now let's go to the second information before we get into the Malian counterterrorism updates. The issue going on in Sierra Leone, in the border between Sierra Leone and Guinea, is worrying to me. Why is it worrying? Because the behavior of Guinea today, I used to be a very strong supporter of Guinea. I used to be a very, very, very strong supporter of Guinea. And the reason why I support Guinea is, no matter what happens, Guinea has been able to come out recently to stand their ground against imperialists. For a country to jail, Western pilots, either private or public, whatever they call themselves, for up to 2 months now, it's a it's a milestone. You jail them for a day is an achievement. Now, when you jail them for 2 months without anybody daring you, then that is a milestone. But this one that Guinea did today is disgusting. It's non-brotherly. It's very, very bad. It's disgraceful. There are better ways of doing things. I know the common Guineans might look at that behavior right there that is very undiplomatic, and to them they might be thinking, oh, we made a caricature of the Sierra Leonean forces. But what I have to say is this: those guys on the ground that you are disgracing right there, those are the fathers of some people. We are all Africans. These are not our enemies. Those soldiers are taking orders. You were able to repel them. Okay, you took their weapon. You did whatever you want to do. Fine, let them go. But to now put them on the floor in a public place to the point where everybody is coming to look at them is diabolic. I would never ever be in support of anything like that. We know that Julius Maada Bio is a diabolic president. But the people of Sierra Leone are not diabolic people. Let's not get it twisted that we don't support the interest of certain leaders. should not turn us against ourselves. That is not the goal. We don't talk about unity if we are practicing division. So whatever happened between Guinea and Sierra Leone today, I am against it, regardless of who is right or who is wrong. Now, let me tell you what happened. Yesterday morning, the Sierra Leonean army went to set up a checkpoint in a village of Keilahun on the border with Guinea. Now, this thing can happen when you share borders with another African country. Anything can happen. Anybody can overstep. But there is a way to do things. I don't even know why they are doing this now. Julius Maada Bio is a failed president. Why are you just trying to demarcate now? So now, according to information, unfortunately, for the 13 Sierra Leonean soldiers, they were greeted by Guinean border guards who demanded coordinates, claiming that this territory did not belong to them. Now, to those Sierra Leonean soldiers, I think there is another way they should have done it. Okay? You don't need to go to everything is not instant chaos. Okay? Now, after the Guineans did not accept the explanations. Now listen, the Sierra Leoneans gave an explanation. They said the Guineans did not accept their explanation. Okay? Because those guys are working on orders. They detained the Sierra Leoneans, injuring some with knives. You are already going. You detained, then you injured with knives. It doesn't make any sense. We are getting this information from a very non-biased source. Then, soldiers are human beings. They are not animals or beasts from the jungle. Now, later, the prisoners were taken to the Guinean capital, Conakry. According to information, where they were put on public display. Remember I said this, the video is on our Telegram. They were on the floor with their uniform. That's bad. As if to mock the population, the Sierra Leonean Public Relations Director said on the radio this morning that the army is now stronger than ever. He did not answer the pressing question about the fate of the prisoners. Julius Maada Bio is a failed president, I repeat, simply stating that there will be no war. Now, let me read the official statement from the Sierra Leonean Ministry of Information and Civic Education. The Sierra Leonean government confirmed that on Monday, 23rd February 2026, personnel of the Guinean Armed Forces crossed into the border town of Guinea-Sierra, Sulima Chiefdom, Falaba district, where members of the public of the Sierra Leonean Armed Forces and the Sierra Leonean police were deployed. At the time of the incident, Sierra Leonean security personnel were engaged in making bricks for the construction of a border post and accommodation facility intended to support security operations in the area. The Sierra Leonean flag had been hoisted within the territory recognized as belonging to Sierra Leone. During the encounter, Guinean Armed Forces personnel apprehended several members of the joint security team, including an officer, and transported them across the border into Guinean territory. Their arms and ammunition were taken. Government is actively engaging through established diplomatic and security channels to confirm their location and secure their safe and unconditional release. The matter has been formally communicated to the appropriate national regional and sub-regional authorities. Engagement is ongoing to ensure a peaceful and amicable resolution. Government remains fully seized of the situation. A fact-finding mission has been constituted to visit the area immediately to establish the sequence of events and provide further clarity. You see, whatever they are saying right now is something they should have done before. You don't just send people to a place to go and carry out some assignments without giving them proper directive. But we'll be monitoring the events. If there is any good development, we'll definitely bring out the information to you. We want to say sorry to everyone right there, because that is not how to unite people. That is not how to make people. That's not how to build a strong Africa. A strong Africa is building unity among ourselves. And building unity is not disgracing ourselves. It's not intimidating, humiliating our brothers. I've never seen this happen in Europe. I've never seen it happen. Why always Africa? So, as long, see, I've been a very big supporter of Guinea, but in this particular one, I am not going to support it. I know a lot of people are going to be sharing because they don't like Julius Maada Bio. Yes, I understand. We don't like his stance. We don't hate him as an human being. I want everybody to understand that on this Android community, we don't hate anybody, but we dislike some of their decisions. And if we dislike your decision, we are going to criticize you. So on this occasion, I want to appeal to the Guinean authorities to release those Sierra Leonean soldiers to go back to their families. They were taking orders, they made a mistake, fine. Things will be done the right way. But to put them on the ground and try to humiliate them, it's all right. It's all right. So now, the next information, we have a big update from Zimbabwe. Okay? And I said something. I said the Sierra Leonean forces should have learned from Ivory Coast. They need to deploy those units to go and get special training from Ivory Coast, because you know what happened on the border between Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso now? Immediately those Burkina Faso troops were coming, those Ivorian forces disappeared. So they should have traveled to Ivory Coast to go and get such training. Learn to disappear when you know that the threat that is coming is greater than, maybe they would have been able to avoid, that type of escalation. But they are soldiers, they are meant to do what they do. So now, Zimbabwe has reportedly rejected $350 million US Earth grants over sovereignty concerns. Ladies and gentlemen, I take my hat off to Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is representing Africa the right way. I mean, I'm shocked. When I saw this information, I was shocked to my marrow. Like, wow. So there are some leaders in Africa that can say, no, we are not going to take, we're not going to take this BS. And I really, really want to say thank you to the Zimbabwean authority. Now, what is this all about? Zimbabwe rejects a $350 million deal with the United States over sovereignty concern, according to the Zimbabwe mainstream media. They said President Emmerson Mnangagwa personally ordered his government to halt negotiations, according to Zim Live media. At the end of December 2025, the Secretary of Foreign Affairs and International Trade Communication communicated this decision to the Secretaries of Finance and Health, according to the document reviewed by Zim Live. In this directive, the funding agreement was described as manifestly unbalanced, compromising and flagrantly undermining the sovereignty and independence of Zimbabwe. The memorandum of understanding was presented by Washington as American support for health in Zimbabwe under its Global American Force Strategy. Can you imagine? In this directive, the funding agreement was okay. According to further information, Harare found the funding condition unacceptable. Why? The United States requested. Now look at these criminals, they are back again. The United States requested direct access to Zimbabwe's Earth data. See, guys, anybody that is still working with the US in Africa, you are a traitor. Let's just be clear. Are we clear? We are very, very clear on that. You are a traitor. You are a puppet. You are. Oh man, don't let me use some language. The United States requested direct access to Zimbabwe's health data for an agreed period. Why do they need that health data? A provision the authorities viewed as an abuse of intelligence power. Harare argued that signing a bilateral aid agreement with Washington would be incompatible with its commitment to multilateralism. Zimbabwe. At the same time, the United States insisted on access to the country's critical mineral resources. They are back. You know, see, when you find them, you don't, even in the dark, you don't need to look for them. You know them when they come. At the same time, the United States insisted on access to the country's critical mineral resources as part of this broader agreement. So, ladies and gentlemen, the question I might like to ask at this point is, what do you think about Zimbabwe rejecting this agreement? Are they wrong to have rejected this agreement? In my opinion, I think the Zimbabwean leadership, they've done the best for their people by rejecting this satanic agenda. You know, why will you be requesting for this type of data? And see, they are already requesting for critical minerals. That's gold. That's silver. That's lithium. Africa is blessed and we know that. But can we imagine a situation where African countries can work together? Let's even imagine that Africa come together as a continent and have a unified bank, a unified currency, backed by at least, let's say, one of the resources we have in common in Africa is gold. Let's back it by gold. Do better for Africa. I don't know. And it's not that Africa does not have this intention. It is because so many foreign states are trying their best to make sure this does not happen. It could have happened. It should have happened. But they are trying day and night, creating division everywhere to make sure this does not happen. AKA democracy. AKA democracy. So Zimbabwe just stood 10 toes right there. You know, we've been yeah, I slept. So Zimbabwe Zimbabwe just, you know, imagine they did not agree to that useless $350 million. Do you know why I call that money useless? That's just some printed paper. They want to use some useless paper to get real wealth. It's not going to work. So I've been monitoring Zimbabwe for a while. And I've been looking at their moves. I've been looking at their, you know, recently Zimbabwe has just backed their currency with gold. Zimbabwe is moving strategically. And they are doing a very, very great job. But I want to say, they've sanctioned Zimbabwe now. These same terrible people. The European Union just extended the ban. Arms embargo on Zimbabwe. Welcome by design. Welcome. The Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Botswana are going to form a group like the AES. Yes, that is part of the deal. We are going to get to that. Zimbabwe has been doing a lot for their people, and this is a very, very fantastic move. I've been hearing for a minute that Zimbabwe is a sovereign state. And if you look at the way they have been moving recently, we have no other option than to believe them. Zimbabwe is truly a sovereign state. And we need to say thank you to this guy, Mugabe. That guy saved Zimbabwe. He saved Zimbabwe. But still, I don't understand. You see, the good leaders that does the best for their nation, something always happens to them at the end of the day from their people. And it's always from external manipulation. So I think it's time for Africans to start having sense. And that is what the Andre community is all about. Let's look at everything from a critical standpoint. Every social media advert, everything that your favorite influencer is saying, question their intention, question their speech. Sometimes they tell you it's common opinion, but I'm telling you, some of them are already projecting the influence of the Epsteinists. If that is a very, very good qualification for them. Epsteinists. So now, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Namibia, I think, is it Zambia or Gambia around that ring? They are trying to collaborate in terms of military, in terms of economy. They are trying to build a strong economy, back their currency with their natural resources. But we'll wait and see what develops from there. You see, what I would tell anyone is this. Whatever is going on in the Sahel is a lesson for everyone right now. The Sahel is giving everybody the necessary time to prepare themselves. A lot of people should learn. Now, the Sahel Alliance is giving everybody the necessary time to learn their lesson. Because if those guys did not fight, wallahi, there will be no time for anybody to learn anything. Life will play out. Wherever they want to go and learn the lesson thereafter, they will go and learn it. But that fight in the Sahel have just stopped a very huge incursion. So we have a situation where the Sahel is fighting a unified Epstein, core. Now, this Epstein unit that have several agents in Africa have been the ones in charge of terrorism. So this Epstein unit, they've now deployed all their military assets, their dirty military assets. They've now deployed them to the Sahel. Because to them, everything the Sahel represents right now is against their agenda. Remember, they've traveled to the Sahel several times. They've traveled to the Sahel. They've proposed so many deals. The Sahel is telling them no all day long, no. Now, what did they do? They launched a sort of disinformation campaign. What did they do in Ghana? They dereputed the strategic partner of the Sahel states. Then there was a calculated attack on Ghanaian citizens. Okay? Now, after the attack in Titao, where Ghanaians were hurt, right? Now you are having a US delegation in Ghana. Like I said, these people are always happy when there is problem. I have noticed this trend, and it's not a coincidence. After any satanic agenda, you always see these people coming around, and they are not coming to help anybody. You see, gone are those days where Africans watch a lot of Hollywood movie, and when they see the Americans, oh, the saviors of the world are here. No, this is a new school. This is a new era. We've been able to decouple a lot of lies of those people, and we will continue. So that is why You see, this, I don't know. I think they are even tired of this project terrorism. Okay? They are really tired of this terrorism project right now. Because the way the terrorism project is supposed to be is in such a way that we, the citizens, are going to be bashing our leaders. This leader is useless. This leader is this leader is that. Why they hide behind the scene, giving weapons to those terrorists? The highest exporter of arms illegally to Africa is Europe, followed by the US. And the same people are telling Ghana that they want to have a joint patrol to combat illegal fishing and piracy in Ghanaian coastal waters. These are the same people that are doing this. So it's like I hit you and I come back to rub your back. So that tactics is not working. Now they are saying that citizens are saying that you are the ones behind this terrorism. So we don't know the next playbook. But when it comes, we are going to be prepared. So the terror, now let me tell you something. I think the next playbook is coming out. Now that the terrorism aspect is no longer working, I think the next thing is the Prospera Africa project. Okay? How do I mean? These people were taking lands before by using terrorists to displace people. But now they are no longer interested in doing that. So let them bring something that looks like the Prospera Africa and take a vast amount of territory. You see, everybody should learn from the Sahel. This proposal to Ghana, it will be extremely irresponsible for Ghana to accept this proposal. Why? You have seen what happened when the US was in the Sahel. They were there for how many years? What did they achieve? They are in Nigeria. They are in Nigeria currently. Have anyone seen the video on our Telegram channel? Have you seen the Nigerians that were lined up? Their head, their cranium was opened up. Have you seen the number of Nigerians that were lined up? So those people that said the US, their God, should come and save them, they are there now. Where is the miracle at? You won't dog this smoke. So it's a question you have to answer. Do you want to be a slave forever? So now we have a counterterrorism information from Ghana, from Mali. The Malian armed forces successfully carried out 2 strikes in the Zantier-Bugu region of Buguni. Now, I've noticed something about the Malian airstrike. You know, when you do something to a certain level, you become so perfect. You become so good at it. And families, what I'm seeing in Mali currently, I think the Malians are now so good. The Malians are so good right now when it comes to destroying terrorists with their strikes, to the point where the souvenirs we are seeing cannot be identified anymore. At least we have a time when the Malians will launch an airstrike, then you'll still be able to see the faces of the jihadists. But now they are getting cooked. I mean, when I'm talking about cooked, it's not the literal cook. They are getting cooked, roasted, completely devastated. You can't even recover capabilities from them. So the farmers successfully carried out 2 strikes in the Zantier-Bugu region of Buguni. The first strike targeted an armed terrorist group moving on a motorcycle towards the village of Zantier-Bugu. That's a moving target. The group was destroyed completely and motorcycles were destroyed. In the same locality, a reconnaissance mission detected a second terrorist group crossing the RN7 lane to join another motorcycle group near the village of Fanim. After spinning, now the Malians are using a very sweet language right there. That's what I said. I said, when you do something to a certain level, you become a beast, you become a monster at it. So now they are using language like spinning. They say after spinning a second strike was successfully carried out to destroy this group of terrorists and its logistics. I was reading the report from Burkina Faso the other day. The general staff of Burkina Faso said something like the drone operators they said they played with the terrorists a little bit. You see, when you start using this type of terms, right? Eliminating this jihadist have now become like, it has now become like, okay, it's like a matter of fact now. When you start hearing the word spinning, or you start hearing the words like played with the jihadists, now it's very, very bad for them. Very, very bad for them. Everybody have seen the Titao counter-terrorism operation. You've seen the number of jihadists that were eliminated in that operation. It was very, very bad. It was very, very, very bad. Now we have one yesterday that took place along the border of Burkina Faso with Togo. They ambushed the Burkinabe first because they initiated contact. The Burkinabe returned fire and eliminated 5. Chased them as they fled, right? You know, yesterday I said they fled, but we didn't know where they entered. According to information, they said they entered the Togolese territory. The Togolese deployed their air vectors, blasted everything. So, you see, I love what Togo is doing. You see, that border, that joint security. You can see that there is, in Togo, everywhere is data hotel. Togo is not negotiating. Togo is showing deterrence. Togo knows what ignoring their border, their northern territory would mean as time goes on. So now the terrorists know not to cross Togo. They know not to cross Togo. You can go to my bio. You will see when you go to my bio, you will see my Telegram link right there. You will see my Telegram link on my bio. So you can actually go right there. You will see a lot of things on our Telegram channel. If you don't have the heart, don't go, because you will see a lot of devastation right there. So now, according to further information, they said the terrorist logistics was completely destroyed. Now, the forces engaged in the raking of the impact area. They discovered hidden under a tree a pickup vehicle. The search of the said pickup vehicle made it possible to get hold of a large stock of weapons, including submachine guns, PKM machine guns, a 12.7mm machine gun, as well as mattresses and equipment for manufacture of improvised explosive device. So families, the question I will ask, some bunch of jihadists that has probably not bathed in 2 months. They've not poured water on their body in 2 months. Maybe they are using sachet water in 2 months. The question is, how have they been able to get these capabilities? How? So, how have they been able to get bullets constantly? How have they been able to maintain the rifles? Because gun jams, guns have faults. How have they been able to do all these things? When their tires are destroyed, how have they been able to get new tires? A lot of people just think these things are easy. It's not easy. How have they been able to get it? If all the critical entrance into the Sahel state is heavily militarized and is checked properly, how have they been coming in? If not through the borders of neighboring countries? It's through the borders of neighboring countries, very clear. If you look at these rifles that we are mentioning here, these are not cheap rifles. by any means. Now the armors and the bullets for each of these grades of weapons is different, oh, right? The ammunition you use for some level of capability is different. Again, the question, who is giving them these variations? Like, these are varieties of GPMGs. So who is giving them? Who is giving them a continuous supply of the hammer? So sometimes when they are eliminated, you see scalp vein needle, you see given sets, you see drip, you see different medication. Who has been supplying them? We've heard from analysts that there was a particular jihadist that was neutralized by the Burkinabe armed forces. And what did they notice? They noticed that there were metals. Do you know these metals? Like anybody that has been to the orthopedic hospital before, the metals they put inside the bones once they are trying to resect the bones, right? You know those huge metals. They found it on the leg of one of them. So how have they been able to get orthopedic assistance? ah so for those people that don't understand, you don't still understand the fight, then you have to wake up. You have to wake up. America has just declared the Northern Territory of Ivory Coast a no safe zone. When I said it on this platform that the Northern Ivory Coast is a very dangerous place, a lot of people thought we were just, echoing the words of our leaders, right? I said it, this coastal West African country, their northern territory is extremely dangerous. They thought we were joking. But now you can hear the information. America has now tagged Togo. The northern Benin is finished completely. Who else is there? The northern territory of Ghana. They call it Galamsey. Is it Galamsey or terrorism? The Fulani terrorists came out overtly through their JNIM, which is their military wing, to tell the Ghanaians that they are going to respond. They are going to retaliate because the Ghanaians repatriated 2 Fulanis. This is Africa in 2026. So that is the situation we have right now. But the funny part of this whole thing is when you see, what makes me angry is when you see people that are trying to tell lies. That yes, it is because of this. But I appreciate Ghana for one thing. Ghana did not completely dodge the problem. Ghana signed an immediate security agreement with Burkina Faso. I appreciate that honesty right there. Ghana signed an immediate security agreement with Burkina Faso. So there's now going to be a sort of cross-border counter-terrorism operation. See, to protect Africa, everybody has to be on their toes. At least protect your borders. We know that the borders of Burkina Faso is heavily militarized. At least the few places that are not heavily militarized is supposed to be protected if other neighbors are standing on their 10 toes. So what I would say is, if Togo can can defend their border and Ghana can defend their border, that is already a very wide range. That's a very long square kilometer. A very, very huge square kilometer that is already protected. So Burkina Faso can critically focus on the Ivorian border. You know, I wish Burkina Faso would have struck those terrorists right inside the Ivorian territory. Whatever want to happen should happen. Nothing will happen. I've been able to discover that most of these African presidents that just continue to do anyhow, they don't really, really have it. They are not him. They are not him. Okay, what has Julius Maada Bio done to this issue now? Yeah, he's asking for diplomacy. He cannot do anything. He's a puppet. So when Doumbouya speaks, Maada Bio should disappear. That's what it means. No, now game recognized game. When you track from Niger, you track it down to Guinea. It's game recognized games. Those guys are mean. They are not playing. You can see that it's easier for these foreign criminals to just come in and intimidate the civilian presidents. Go and intimidate those ones now. They are military leaders for a reason. That one that Doumbouya even did to those 2 foreign pilots, Abba. And like I said, the fact that nobody has officially approached the Guinean authorities on their behalf means that something is wrong. Something is wrong. I'm telling you. Guinea has something. A critical evidence that they are holding. It's going to be very bad for those people. And when they gave them the opportunity to speak, they were complaining. Have they been holding us? They've been doing this. You will grow gray beards there if you are not careful. This is a military person we are talking about. But I love the fact that the Guinean, they are protecting their borders. See, it's not the fact that the terrorist does not want to enter Guinea. They cannot enter because the Guinean border is heavily secured. The Senegalese are equally carrying out serious counter-terrorism operation along their border to secure that Mali-Senegal corridor. Because very soon, there is a collaboration that is going to happen with Mali, Senegal, Burkina Faso is part of it. That entire territory, including Mauritania, they are about to have some sort of arrangement. Economic arrangement. To have this transport corridor. A logistic corridor. So when you look at, and this is going to help the economy. When you look at the build-up going on in the Sahel, I think it's only in the Sahel that we are seeing revolutionary, attempts right now. At least we are seeing it. We are seeing the most revolutionary attempt in the Francophone bloc. Even though we have some of the biggest puppets there, we still have the revolutionaries there too. But I don't know what has happened to the Anglophone bloc. I think the Anglophone bloc is equally suffering, just like the Francophone bloc. So Mali would have access to the sea, surely, very, very soon. But having access to that sea too will come at a very great cost, because now they will start doing everything they can to try to create a blockade. At this point, anybody that does not understand what this fight is all about, or who the AES states are fighting, then that person does not understand anything and cannot understand anything. The AES is not fighting terrorists. They are fighting NATO. That is just the simple truth. Is NATO not fighting Russia? Are they not sending envoys to Russia? Are they not sending diplomats to Russia? They are. Right? Are they not trying to bomb Iran right now? Are they not sending diplomats to Iran? So you see this whole delegation they are sending to Burkina Faso. It's the same thing. They are the ones fighting Burkina Faso. And it's even easier for them to fight in Africa. Why? Because they don't have to send in their troops, so it's not costly. Their troops are not supposed to go down. They are not going to go down, so they just have to fund it. And that is why it is very, very important for multipolarity to emerge, so that the power to fund endless war would come to an end. You know, the power to fund endless war will come to an end. So I'll go and do my research on this maritime corridor that people are saying is going to link Mali. I've seen waters around Mali. I've seen huge waterways around Mali. But I want to see where that water terminates. If it has access directly to the sea, then good luck for Mali. I mean, Mali that's a breakthrough for the entire AES right there. But still, they will have to have a very, very good cooperation with Senegal. And when you have guys like Ousmane Sonko in Senegal, the sky is the beginning for the AES. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the information we have for today. All this information we have given you are breaking information. They are new updates. They are fresh updates. These are not old information. This is what has just happened in the last 24 hours that we've brought to you here. So, if anyone have any requests in the next 10 minutes, I would like to answer before I go. Salute family, salute family. And after this session, I will have to sleep. Truly, I will have to sleep because I really, really have been battling these days with sleep. So I think I can sleep now because there are some deals. There are some things that have been exposed. There are some secrets plan that we've been monitoring and it has failed. So now that it has failed, we can go to sleep. But ladies and gentlemen, in the coming days, I will be bringing you the updates about those failed missions, about the Sahel. Because some people have been traveling covertly to go and have some negotiations. But they did not know that some people they've delegated. See, some people in this Africa, we've dedicated our entire life. Even though we go to work every day, we work for our government, we work for our people. We've dedicated every seconds of our life to continue to monitor everything that these people are doing. So we've been monitoring and we've been able to discover that their plans have just been foiled. So there were some Ukrainians that were supposed to be sent to the Sahel this week to go and train terrorists. Why are they planning to send them to the Sahel to go and train terrorists? They discovered that the success rate of the drone capability is very, very low. So they are supposed to send those instructors to the Sahel neighbors to go and train JNIM and EIGS terrorists. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen again. And why is it not going to happen? They were supposed to go not directly from Ukraine. They were supposed to travel to Romania And from Romania, they were supposed to travel to Morocco. From Morocco, they will now travel to the AES. They will now travel to the AES neighboring country through Mauritania. You know that along the edge of Morocco, you can get to Mauritania easily. So unfortunately, it's not going to be possible again because the Russian foreign intelligence exposed a lot of information recently, and they kind of delayed that plan. I don't know when they are going to resume it again, oh, but that was their plan recently, and that plan failed. These same fools have been training the CJNG cartel members in Mexico on how to use drones. Thank you very much. That's what they are now doing now. Training all terrorist organizations on the planet on how to use drones. I don't know why Vladimir Putin has not, he has not done the needful. We can no longer, in South Africa, still the same Ukrainians that are trying to destabilize South Africa right now under the flag of some certain NGOs. We are monitoring all this information. So tomorrow, we are going to bring some of our guests to the platform. There are some important information, and I think they have the better resources about that information. So, and they've been able to get some very, very secret material on it. So I'll be bringing them to the Andre community so that they will be sharing what they found so far about their investigation on those issues. So families, I want to bid you a farewell. I want to appreciate you all for coming back. I don't take your time for granted. I want to say thank you and God bless you. Bye now.